Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Above the Rim Rundown, where we run down all things NBA. I am one of your hosts, Memo, and today we've got Hoops. What's up?
What's going on, man? How are you doing?
Good. I'm very tired today. I told you, I took another giant nap today, even though I did not want to. But it is what it is. I'm just glad it's the weekend. It is currently, uh, actually, it's not no longer Friday. It's Saturday. It's midnight for us
Yeah,
right now. It's late. But we've got an exciting video for you all. Um, because we are predicting the All Star starters and reserves. I believe today, this Saturday, is the last day of voting. And so that means the All Star starters should be revealed soon. The reserves should be revealed soon. So I thought it'd be cool if we have our own All Star predictions. And yeah, I think it's exciting. How do you feel?
yeah, definitely. Coming up with these type of all prediction lineups are very fun videos. It's definitely some tricky decisions to make because there's gonna be certain players that are really good that will be left off simply because there's not enough roster spots for everyone. But I think that's where the fun comes in, trying to decide who's better and who's just not quite on the level. So it should be a fun one.
Yeah, that was definitely my biggest issues with the reserves. It's just cutting up people that I feel like should be all stars. But ultimately there isn't enough spots. And
Yeah.
yeah, so we'll do our all star predictions, and I feel like that should be relatively quick. So if we do have time, we might play some games. After just a few, kind of like our mini game episode that should be up. It is up actually. I got to listen to it the other day. I thought it was pretty good. I was entertained throughout the whole thing. So I hope you all enjoy that. But yeah, let's. Should we just jump into it and talk about some reserve? Not reserves. Let's start with the starters, since they get revealed first,
Yeah.
I guess. Where do you want to go? West or East first?
Um, Maybe we can do uh I guess we can do Western Conference.
Okay, let's.
Actually, yeah, let's do Western Conference first.
All right, let's reveal
Um,
our Western
should we do
Conference starters.
Yeah, I was gonna say, should we do the honorable mentions first or
Hmm.
last?
Maybe last. Maybe we'll save it for like the reserves part because uh, since they would most likely be in the reserves, um,
Yeah.
we could mention the honorable mentions there. But let's show off the starters for the Western Conference. I have mine
All right.
up.
All right.
Two guards, three forwards. I feel like a few of these are like have to be locks. While one, maybe even two of the players are debatable. All right, let me uh, announce my starting five for the Western Conference All Star starters. So, my guards, it includes Shea and Luca, and then my three forward spots belongs to LeBron, Anthony Davis, and Nikola Jokic. I feel like everybody except for Anthony Davis are locks for me. Jokic, debatably the best player in the league right now. LeBron is debatably the greatest player ever, and it's definitely very popular. So those fan votes will definitely help him get in. And then Luka and Shea to me are the best guards in the Western Conference. Some might say Curry, but I feel like this is a slight down year for him, and his team isn't that good compared to these two players and their teams. So I feel like they should be locks. Anthony Davis is the only guy that people might like tilt their head and wonder why I have him there. Uh, as I mentioned before, uh, I think he is one of the best players on both sides of the ball when it comes to offense and defense. And I am a little biased since I'm a Lakers fan, and Lakers fans do like come through when it comes to voting. So I wouldn't be surprised if the votes help Anthony Davis become a starter this year. But yeah, those are my five. Who's in your five?
So for the most part, my starting lineup was pretty similar to yours, except for one difference. So in my starting lineup, I had Luca, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, um, Kawhi Leonard actually, and then I had LeBron and Jokic. So the main difference was Kawhi and AD being the only differences between our two lineups.
And I'm honestly not
And
upset with the Kawhi pick at all. He's been playing very well. He's been playing like he's not resting. He's actually playing like almost every game. So I could see why he would be
yeah,
starting.
yeah. I think that AD definitely has a case to be starting for sure. So also not upset about that decision there. I definitely potentially thought about him being in the starting lineup just because like he's a more natural power forward. But ultimately I just decided best players or who I believe were the best players so far in the conference, just stack them in the starting lineup. Um but yeah, honestly, either way could work well.
Yeah, definitely. So those are our starters for the West. Let's do the starters for the East now. Um, I'm gonna reveal mine, but one of them might or might not be playing. Okay, so um, I guess I can name my starting five for. Ooh, wrong. Wait. Hold up. I put it in the wrong spot. Um,
Mhm.
okay, so for me, my starting five for the Eastern Conference All Stars includes Tyrese Halliburton, Jalen Brunson, Giannis, Embiid, and Jason Tatum. I feel like the forwards are like locks, the three of them: Giannis, Embiid, Tatum. Even though I'm not a Tatum fan, next week we will be releasing a video on our top 25 players of in the NBA, and you'll definitely hear some passionate opinions about my thoughts on Jason Tatum there. But it's no secret that he is one of the best players in the league, and I do think he deserves a starting spot. So, yeah, Giannis, Embiid, and Tatum are locks, and I feel like the guards maybe are not locks, but I feel like they're well deserved, and I gave it to Jalen Brunson and Tyrese Halliburton. Um, Brunson has been balling all year. He's an offensive machine. He's carrying the Knicks right now, even though Julius Randle and some other players are playing well. I think there's no question that he is that guy on the team. And Tyrese is one of the best point guards in the league, like a true point guard, like a Steve Nash type, where he's passing the ball a lot. He is very efficient, efficient shooter, low turnovers. So I think he deserves to start, but he is injured, so we don't know if he'll be playing. But if he is playing, I think he should be a starter.
Yeah, I agree. And looks like I actually have the same starting lineup as you. Tyrese Halliburton, Jalen Brunson, Jason Tatum, Giannis, and Joel Embiid. I thought about potentially putting Donovan Mitchell in the starting lineup over Brunson. But then I remembered that Donovan Mitchell kind of did miss like a lot of games. So I just gave Brunson the nod because of being more available this season and also having a breakout year. So that was one of them that I was a little bit more iffy on, but overall, I think that the rest of the lineup at least was pretty well set in stone. Of course, we don't know exactly about like Tyrese's injury status by All Star Weekend, but I think I did hear that he returned for his first game, which was I guess a little bit earlier than expected. So hopefully that means a trend in the right direction, and he plays in the All Star game.
Yeah, I hope so. Like he is definitely one of the more entertaining players in the league. So it'd be fun to watch him have more playing time and be a starter. Um, but yeah, let's say he can't play the All Star game. Who would you like to replace him to start for the East? Would it be Donovan
I
Mitchell?
think that I think it'll be Donovan Mitchell, honestly. There's other good guys in the conference for sure, but I feel like if as far as like big name star power, he would be the one that makes the most sense if Tyrese were to sit.
Okay.
Yeah. What do you think?
It's a difficult question. I mean, we've got Donovan Mitchell. Uh, actually, before I answer that question, should we reveal our reserves for the Eastern Conference?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. So, for me, I have four forwards. Some of the forwards like play guard as well, and then I have three guards. And then I'll mention my guards first, just because uh, I still want to talk about who should replace Tyrese Halliburton. But my three guards are Donovan Mitchell, Tyrese Maxey, and Damian Lillard. And I feel like either Lillard or Mitchell should start. Lillard definitely has had like a down year compared to his seasons over in Portland, but he's still like the number two guy on one of the best teams on in the league. He still has his moments of greatness, so that's why he's still an all star in my eyes. And I wouldn't be mad if he starts right besides Giannis, but Donovan Mitchell isn't a bad pick, so I'm fine with that. Or actually, um, maybe one of the other players I have. So I guess I could go over my entire reserve. So I have Donovan Mitchell, Tyrese Maxey, Damian Lillard, Scotty Barnes, Paulo Banchero, Jaylen Brown, and Bam Adebayo. And I could see Jaylen Brown maybe starting as a guard. Uh, but yeah, it might be Mitchell. So, uh, who's in your reserves before I like keep yapping?
Yeah. So in my reserves list, I got Donovan Mitchell, Damian Lillard, Tyrese Maxey, Trey Young, Bam Adebayo, Scotty Barnes, and Jaylen Brown. Um, Seems like we pretty much got the same reserves except for Trey versus Paulo. That one I think is one of the toss up spots because like both of the players are really good, and Paulo's definitely been falling out this season, so there's a case that he could easily be an all-star. Ultimately, I think I just picked Trey because of like the bigger, I guess the more popular big name, shall we say. I mean, I don't know if more popular per se is true because like Paulo is really popular and there are a lot of people that just don't like Trey Young for certain whatever reasons, but I guess in terms of like being in the league a little bit longer, they just rode with Trey, but I could totally see Paulo also getting in. So that one was a bit difficult for sure.
Yeah, I will say that Trey Young was definitely the hardest cut I had to make. Like he's definitely an honorable mention for me. But I ultimately gave it to Paulo because of his team success. Like his team's not crazy, but they're better than the Hawks right now. They're doing better, and this I wouldn't say resurgence, but like this um what's the right word? I don't know, but like the Magic had has had like a
Upward
breakout.
maybe,
Yeah, like a
improvement.
yeah, they improved a lot. They've had a breakout year. Um, Paulo has been playing like an all star. Franz Wagner has also been playing like an all star. But ultimately, I feel like Paulo deserves to be in the all star game. I think he has a lot of potential, and again, he plays like an all star. So ultimately, I did choose him. But you do have a point that uh, usually with all star games, the voters for the reserves do tend to look at like past all stars, and if you've been a past all star, you usually get in. Like a Trey Young, he didn't make it last year, but I wouldn't be surprised if he makes it this year because of how because he's been an all star in the past, and he's had a better season this year than last year. His team's not good, but he's doing better, I believe. So I actually kind of surprised that that's the only difference between our lists. Other than
Yeah,
that,
honestly,
we have a lot of similarities.
for sure.
And I thought I'd be the odd
So,
man out for having Scotty Barnes on the team. So why do you have Scotty Barnes over other
um,
uh, players? I guess.
so I'll say this. To start, I am a pretty big Scotty Barnes fan, so that was one of the reasons why I put him on the list. Another reason is that he is having a pretty good season to the point where I feel like he's deserving of making it, honestly. So I just went with my gut and put him on the list. Um, Potentially with all those other good players and the fact that like the Raptors are not really that good of a team. I mean, they showed their flashes, but they're just really inconsistent. That could be a factor to him maybe not making it. But I think that as far as All Star voting goes, it doesn't really matter how good the team is. It's mostly based on like the player's performance. So honestly, I think there's a good chance Scotty could get in. Definitely due to like unpopular and you name it, stuff like that.
I do think team success does matter a bit, um, especially if there's other forwards that are just as good but on a better team. But I do like Scotty Barnes. I think he's had a major improvement this year. A lot of people thought he might be a bust off of his sophomore slump last year. But yeah, I added him to the list. He was like my last add on, I guess, for the forwards, and I ended up. I guess we could talk about some of our honorable mentions. I ended up cutting Jimmy Butler and Mikal Bridges for the forwards, and then I kind of said it already, but for the guards, I cut out Franz Wagner and Trey Young. Um, I think Jimmy Butler is probably the more controversial decision to cut. But if you know Jimmy Butler, he does not care about the All Star game. Even when he was selected, he didn't really play. He like would have an excuse and just stay on the bench. And I don't like that. I feel like if you're in the game, if you're selected, you should play. Um, and if you're injured, say you're injured basically, and just not show up. But so based off of like me having a bias against Jimmy Butler being in the All Star game and him not, you, like playing a lot, not trying super hard because it's the regular season. I thought Bam would be a better fit to make it onto the list and represent the Heat rather than Jimmy. And then Mikal Bridges, although I like him, He's definitely having a good season. His team's not the best, and he hasn't hit the ceiling I thought he would this year. So that's why he ended up being cut. And then yeah, Franz, good player, just not good enough. There's a lot of good guards, and Trey Young is definitely the biggest cut I had. Definitely should be a replacement player. I feel like so if like Tyrese ends up not playing, I feel like Trey Young should be in the reserves for sure. But who are some of your honorable mentions?
So my honorable mentions were Paulo Banchero, Jimmy Butler, Kristaps Porzingis, and Julius Randle. And then some of the guys you mentioned are some good ones too that could have easily been on the list, like Mikal Bridges for sure. But ultimately I went with these guys. Mostly because, like as you mentioned, Paulo is having a really good year, so definitely could see him potentially make it as a reserve, if anything. Same for Porzingis having a really nice season. I think there's a good chance he could get into based on how he's been playing, though probably not because there's a lot of these other really good players. So the fact that he is on the team with the best record in the league could help his cause. Um, Julius Randle, not quite as good as last season, I don't think, but still pretty good. So I just had to include him. And then Jimmy Butler, he's generally a good player, but he doesn't really try that hard in the regular season. And I agree with what you said earlier. If you make the All Star game, even if you don't want to play, you should at least play a little bit for the fans. Like, do it for the fans, man. Even if you don't want to play, like, maybe play like 10 minutes, call it a night. It's still better than not playing at all, practically. So, or like a 2 minute game. Like, so yeah, honestly, one of the main reason why I didn't include him was more so because that he doesn't really go all out in the regular season, honestly. It's not really anything against him as an actual player himself. So, in summary, the guys I listed were Paulo Banchero, Kristaps Porzingis, Julius Randle, and Jimmy Butler. Those are my honorable mentions for the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, you named some good players that I didn't name, like Kristaps Porzingis. Like, I do really like Kristaps. I like his game. I just would hate seeing three Celtics in the All Star game,
I mean,
but
literally all.
but I would take Kristaps Porzingis over Derek White any day. I don't know why Celtics fans have been
Yeah.
pushing that rhetoric that Derek White should be playing in the All Star game. And don't get me wrong, he's a great role player. He deserves to be in DPOY conversations. Will definitely be first team uh, all defense, but he is not an all star. He's just not that guy. Um, and then Julius
Yeah.
Randle, I purposely didn't add him to my honorable mentions because I don't want to watch him play. He is I don't like his game at all. He's so boring of a player. He's good. He gets it done, and former Laker, so shout out to him. But I watched the No Dunks podcast, and they were like coming up with their starting five for worst players to uh, starting five for like unwatchable players, and they named Julius Randle, and I can't agree more. I feel like Julius Randle is the sloppiest uh, player in the league. Like he just runs. He is like run and dunk man without the dunking. He just runs and like throw it up and somehow makes it, and then shoots a weird looking three and somehow makes it. It's awful. I don't like his game at all, but he gets it done. It's weird.
Now I'm curious who those other four players are for
Uh,
most unwatchable.
they name players like James Harden because he's like a foul merchant.
Oh, I agree with that one for sure.
They named Paul Pierce because he like plays like an old man basically.
Oh yeah.
Like they did all time. I think Joel Embiid was
Oh,
also
okay.
mentioned.
Right. Well, indeed, yeah, because he's also a free throw merchant.
Yeah. I forgot the point guard that they mentioned, but
You remember if it was an active player or all time?
I really don't remember. I watched it this week, but I can't remember who.
Okay.
But I
Which,
definitely agreed the most
which
with Julius
podcast?
Randle. I can't watch him play.
Yeah. You said which podcast was this again?
No Dunks, the No Dunks podcast.
No.
Yeah,
Okay, for sure. Maybe I'll look into it later.
yeah, they're one of my favorite basketball podcasts for sure. They upload like every day. It's crazy.
Okay, nice.
But I guess that's it for the East. Should we move on to the Western Reserves?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, this one was
Um,
definitely the toughest for me. Like, I still am not
yeah,
completely sure.
so many good players.
Yeah, a lot of good players. I don't know. I still have a hard time trying to figure out who should be in it, who shouldn't be. I'm a
Yeah, a lot of snobs for sure.
yeah, I'm gonna add my players to our doc, but I'm still not very confident about it. Uh, okay. Oh, did we get the exact same list? No way.
Maybe.
We basically do. We basically have the same list. That's crazy.
We do have the same list. Wow,
What?
that's
We're like this right now. We're in sync. It's
yeah,
crazy.
insane.
Okay, well, I guess I'll name them and then I'll quickly go over like the slight difference between our lists. But basically, our forwards are Durant, Kawhi, Paul George, Gobert, and then guards Steph, Anthony Edwards, and De'Aaron Fox. And the slight difference is that I have Anthony Davis starting while you have him in the reserve, and I have Kawhi in the reserve while you have him starting. So other than that, it's the exact same list, which is crazy. Um, what was
It
the
is
hard?
crazy.
What was the hardest decision you had to make making your list?
Uh, um, let's see. I think that one of the hard decisions was I really wanted to include Alfred Şengün, honestly, as a
Oh, really?
reserve
I
because
didn't.
he's been having a really good
He's
season.
definitely an
And
honorable mention
honestly,
for me.
yeah, and honestly, I like his game.
Baby
But that being
Jokic.
said, like, yeah, yeah, and then I guess I might as well mention honorable mentions while we're at it because I'm kind of bringing them up anyway. Um, so pretty much there were so many good players that could have been on this list that I could go on and on, honestly. I think the main players that really stood out that maybe got a little bit snubbed I put for honorable mentions were Devin Booker, Domantas Sabonis, Alfred Şengün. Those are the main guys, honestly. And then guys like Wemby could be like honorable mentions for fan favorites. Honestly, I would say not this season. So the main guys I mentioned for honorable mentions were Booker, Sabonis, and Şengün. So pretty much we got Charizard in the starting lineup, uh Charmeleon as an honorable mention, and also Charmander as an honorable mention. That being Jokic, Sabonis, and Şengün. Yeah. But definitely, I think that Sabonis and Şengün definitely um could have an argument there as well as Devin Booker. I think that Devin Booker, because he did miss a lot of games, was one of the reasons why I didn't include him. Obviously talent wise, we know he's pretty good. Um, but a lot of these other players that we included, I just feel like they've proved so much to the point that it's just really hard not to include them. Like even a guy like Rudy Gobert, for example, that like we're not really huge fans of, but he's been playing like really good this season. It's hard not to include him, honestly. So yeah, I think that's the main reason why I mentioned those guys and then the other guys listed as honorable mentions. I guess Memo, you wanna go over your honorable mentions?
Yeah,
Or you
before
wanna go over your reserves first?
uh actually what I wanted to talk about, like since you mentioned Wemby, I know a lot of people were thinking that it was a possibility that uh one of the rookies would be an all-star this year, whether that was going to be
Yeah.
Chet or
Chat
Wemby.
too, maybe.
But I feel like a lot of people were thinking Chet would be an all star based off of how good his team is compared to Wemby.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that? Because I don't like the narratives that's been going on about how um, Chet should be an all star or Chet should be rookie of the year based off of how good his team is, which is what
Yeah.
it's been going on lately. Because Wemby is probably slightly better than Chet, but he plays with G League type players, while Chet plays with a MVP caliber player. So I feel like it's not
Yeah.
fair that we're like Wemby has to do all these things, and won't get rookie of the year based off of who he plays with. Like, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah. Honestly, I never liked the narrative that like awards like that are usually won by players based on their team performance. Rookie of the year, not as much. Rookie of the year is usually always whoever is the best rookie. Like the MVP, for example, it's usually always the player that's on like the better team, which I think is a little bit flawed, honestly. Honestly, I think that the definition of most valuable player is kind of flawed because there's a lot of times where like I don't know if a lot is the right word, but like there's been a few instances, shall I say, where the MVP plays for a team that's already really good, and even when they like miss a few games, the team is still able to perform just fine and win. That's not necessarily the meaning of most valuable. I think that most valuable would make more of like a argument for like when the player is not on the floor, that team suffers a lot. That's why like I always thought of it as more of like best player of the season award instead of most valuable player award. But going back to the topic though, on like the whole entire Chet should get it over Wemby just because his team is better. Yeah, I don't like that either. I think it has to, they need to pick based on like who's the better player, circumstances, like the toll, responsibilities on that team, and all those factors. Because like as you mentioned, because of the fact that the Spurs are a much worse team than the Thunder, and they don't have as many good players on the team, Wemby has to do a lot more versus Chet playing with Shea and a lot of very good players of the young core there too. He doesn't have to do it as much. He's still doing a really good job, but Wemby definitely has a bigger toe. So yeah, definitely agree with you that the narrative is I don't think is accurate for when they say Chet should have it just because his team is better. Um, but yeah, going back to All Star lineups, I could potentially see either of them maybe making it, but I think it's hard because of how many good players there are right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of great players. I have a lot of honorable mentions for the forward position. Um, so it would be very difficult for the rookies to get in, I think. But I did have the two rookies as honorable mentions, Chet and Wemby. But some other honorable mentions for the forward positions, Cat. I had like a very hard decision, uh, trying to figure out who should make it from the Timberwolves, Cat or Gobert, because they're both good, but for different reasons. Cat is great offensively, Gobert is great defensively, but the reason why Minnesota has been killing it this year is because their defense is like number one, and that's basically uh all because not all because of Gobert, but he's definitely the anchor of their defense. He is their leader when it comes to defense, so that's why I added Gobert instead of Cat. But Cat is having a good season. I like Laurie Markkinen a lot, so he's an honorable mention for me. Segun is an honorable mention as well. I like him a lot. And then Zion Williamson is an honorable mention. I just feel like the Pelicans might need kind of deserve some love because they're doing pretty good. So it was either him or Brandon Ingram, but Zion is more, I guess, not more established All Star, but he has potential to become like an All Star for several years to come. But we'll see if that even happens because he's a little iffy. I don't know. Uh, like the potential's kind of dwindling away, but we'll see with him.
Yeah.
But
Weight issues.
I don't think he will make it this year. But I wouldn't be surprised if he does. Basically.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree. And honestly, some of those guys that you mentioned, I was gonna mention in my honorable mention list as well. Ultimately, I just didn't include some of them because I didn't want the list to be too long. But definitely guys like Markkinen are honorable mention. Like obviously we know he made it last year after that shocking breakout last season. I think that this season he hasn't quite been like as impressive. So I wouldn't really know because I don't watch Utah Jazz games honestly.
Well, the
But
Jazz through like
yeah,
earlier in the season weren't doing that good, but lately they've been doing pretty good.
yeah,
So it might be a sneaky
they
like
shocking.
uh he might sneak in there if there's like injury. I don't know, but
Yeah,
we'll
there
see.
is a chance. Yeah. Yeah, Jazz has definitely been shocking lately. I don't know how they like started playing good, but credit to them, I guess.
Yeah, I
Uh
think they
I do
started
remember
calling
last
Sexton, and that's helped them a lot.
Oh, okay. Makes sense. Yeah, because I remember last season the Jazz started the season really good and then they collapsed.
Yeah, yeah, they did.
So I wouldn't be surprised if that happened again this year. But in the moment, they have been looking impressive lately. But going back to the topic, definitely so many good players and well, a lot of good players in the league in general, of course, both conferences. I think the Western Conference for sure is even more stacked
Yeah, I didn't even
as far
finish my honorable
firepower.
mentions because I kind of forgot.
Oh, you still have more?
Yeah, I forgot to
Okay,
mention
carry on.
Sabonis. He was definitely uh probably the hardest cut. I like Sabonis a lot, and I like the Kings. I think he is a great player. I think he leads the league in rebounds. He's really good. Definitely the hardest cut. I feel like if there is an injury, he should be the first one to be picked up. And then for guards, I only have one honorable mention, and that's Jamal Murray. I feel like he should be an All Star this year. Like this should be the year that he finally becomes an All Star, but he did miss some time, and it's hard to compete with Steph, Anthony Edwards, who is the best player on the best team in the West, and then De'Aaron Fox, who is a little bit more established. And I believe he's averaging like 30 points a game. So, um, yeah, I would hate it if Jamal Murray doesn't make it. Hopefully he makes it as like an injury replacement if there is one. Like I'm not hoping for injuries. That's not what I'm saying. But if it does happen,
Yeah.
I would hope that he makes it in somehow. But yeah, definitely the West. I had the hardest time um, choosing who should be in there, but I feel like the players I did end up choosing are good. Like Durant, he's Durant. Like he's always a walk-in bucket. Kawhi, we mentioned it before. He's actually playing, and he's playing his heart out there. Um, he recently signed an extension with the Clippers, which is Uh, good for them, I guess,
I was
especially
kind
with that new stadium
yeah, I was
coming.
kind of shocked because he re-signed for like what 3 years.
Yeah,
Yeah, I guess honestly at this point probably he just wants to stay home. That's probably all it
yeah.
is.
Like it's hard to leave LA. Like LA's California in general is pretty nice to live in.
Yeah,
So
like
I'm not mad about.
good luck with
Yeah,
that.
I wish him luck, but fuck the Clippers.
Yeah. I agree. Unfortunately, it's gonna be hard to root for that guy on that team, but yeah,
we sh-
for him, I
we
guess.
should maybe down the line go to a Clippers game just to experience the new arena and see what's
Yeah,
up.
like maybe when the Lakers play there, that
Yeah,
would be
yeah,
cool. Lakers versus Clippers at the Intuit Dome. That's the name.
that's what it's called.
Right next. Yeah, it's right next to. It's gonna be right next to SoFi Stadium
Oh, okay.
in Inglewood. Yeah. So literally both of those stadiums right next to each other. I think it's a little bit further of a drive than Staples Center,
It's
but
actually not that bad of a drive. Like I go to LAX all the time, and it's near LAX. Um,
yeah, it'll,
and so
it'll
it's gonna
be a
be
cool experience.
SoFi Stadium, the Clippers Arena, and then the Kia Forum all around that area.
Yeah,
That's insane.
pretty much. That's crazy. It is, yeah.
There's a lot to
Yeah.
do in
Clippers,
Inglewood, I guess.
yeah, Clippers really do not deserve that good of our stadium, but I
Yeah, why
guess
don't we get it?
another
I guess because like the Staples Center is so classic that we kind of have
yeah,
to stay. But we should like
yeah,
I don't know. It'd be cool to like do some updates or whatever.
definitely. Yeah, we'll definitely come up with something when the time comes.
Hopefully.
I know they're yeah, I know they're moving to that stadium next season, so I guess there's a good and the bad. Like the good is that the Lakers will have the arena to themselves, as they should have a long time ago. Um, bad, I guess, is that the Clippers get to have much, a massive upgrade that they don't really deserve. But I don't know if that's gonna really help them to win games, though. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. And speaking of Clippers, let me just go finish up going over why I chose these guys, even though I should have said this a lot earlier. But yeah, Paul George, one of those all stars that like you kind of like just add him in there because he's been good for such a long time. Um, and yeah, he has helped with the Clippers' success for sure. So he should be in there. Gobert already mentioned, great defensive player. They usually pick like that one really good defensive player to be in the All Star game. Last year was like Jaren Jackson Jr., which I don't believe he should have been in the game, but it's whatever. I feel like
Yeah,
this year it should be Gobert. Steph is Steph, so that's why he should be in there. Anthony Edwards. Okay, I basically went through everybody. I just wanted to just double down on why I added these players. I felt like I didn't talk about them, a few of them, as much as I should, but I think that's it on my end. Is there anything you want to add on uh, before maybe playing some games?
I think it for me as well. As mentioned earlier, there were a lot of good players that were really tough to leave off the list.
For sure.
Ultimately, yeah, ultimately, we just felt that the guys that we mentioned they'd done too much to be left off, so hard cuts had to come.
All right.
And definitely a lot more tougher decisions on the Western
Oh yeah,
Conference.
it was definitely tough. That's for sure. But I guess we could just read off our teams. I'll do the West and my West teams and East teams first, and then you can go, I guess. So for my Western starters, I have Shea, Luca, LeBron, Anthony Davis, and Nikola Jokic, and my reserves are Durant, Kawhi, Paul George, Gobert, Steph, Anthony Edwards, and De'Aaron Fox. And for the East, my starters are Tyrese Halliburton, Jalen Brunson, Giannis, Embiid, Tatum, And the reserves are Bam, Jalen Brown, Paulo Banchero, Scotty Barnes, Damian Lillard, Tyrese Maxey, and Donovan Mitchell.
All right. So for Western Conference starters, I had Luka, Shea, Kawhi, LeBron, Jokic. For the Western Conference reserves, I had Steph, Anthony Edwards, De'Aaron Fox, AD, Paul George, and Rudy Gobert. For the Eastern Conference starters, I had Tyrese Halliburton, Jalen Brunson, Jason Tatum, Giannis, and Joel Embiid. For the reserves of the Eastern Conference, I had Donovan Mitchell, Damian Lillard, Tyrese Maxey, Trae Young, Bam Adebayo, Scotty Barnes, and Jaylen Brown.
It's still crazy to me how similar our lists or our teams are. Like, we're definitely
Yeah,
so in
very
sync.
big difference. Yeah, the only one like different player we picked, like disregarding like starters or reserves, was the Trae Young versus Paulo Banchero, which is pretty wild, honestly, how
Yeah,
similar our lineups were.
yeah. So hopefully, our list isn't at. Uh, sorry. I hope our lists, our teams aren't too different from the actual All Star teams, but we'll see when those are released. Hopefully, it'll be soon. Hopefully, it'll be soon. But yeah, we have some time. We usually don't end a podcast this early, so do you want to play some TikTok games before we go? One each.
Yeah, we
Um,
can do that.
do you want to go first, or should I go first?
I guess I can go.
Okay.
All right. So for my TikTok challenge, I decided to do deal or no deal trade packages. For the most part, I decided to choose active players, but at the very end, I threw in a few for all-time players. Um, but without further ado, let's get started. So the first one, so the first trade package, deal or no deal? Kevin Durant for Steph Curry.
Kevin Durant for Steph Curry. So that I'm assuming
It's
I get
tough, right?
Steph Curry. Like that's how the trade works. I trade away Kevin Durant and get Steph Curry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Then I think I'll take Steph. I know his this season there has been some bad games from Steph. Some games where he doesn't even score a three. But he is slightly younger. He's not as injury prone. So I would do it. I would trade KD for Steph.
All right. Cool. Um, the next one I came up with was would deal or no deal, John Morant for Tyrese Halliburton.
Oh, that's tough. That's really tough. Because as we
Yeah.
saw this season, Ja Morant is a game changer. He could elevate a trash team into an elite team just by his impact on the court. But Tyrese Halliburton is just better at like a lot of different things. I believe he's more efficient. Again, he has little to no turnovers a game. A very great um, ball handler and playmaker. I think he leads the league in assists. I'm not too entirely sure. So because of that, I would make the trade. I would trade for Tyrese Halliburton.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, that one is definitely one I feel like you can't really go wrong either way, honestly. All right. Next one. Deal or no deal? Anthony Davis for Victor Wembanyama.
Oh, this is another tough one. You know
Yeah.
what?
I thought this was a good one because both are really good, but one of them is more of a veteran while the other one is a very young up and coming rookie.
And one of them is one of my favorite players in the league, Anthony Davis. But
Yeah.
I'd be stupid not to take Wemby. He has so much potential. I mean, 7 footers like him, like tall people like him, do have bad luck getting injured and stuff. That's how players like Yao Ming, like their career gets shortened because of how tall they are. But
Yeah.
I think Wemby could surpass that hump, and he might honestly be one of the best players to ever do it. So I'm gonna take a risk, and I would trade one of my favorite players, Anthony Davis, for Victor Wembanyama.
All right. Um, fair points. All right.
Would you do
Next
it?
one. Deal or no? Um, I think I would do it too, honestly. Because like one, Wemby is younger right now. Two, his ceiling is so high. I would be willing to take the risk despite the injury risk. So yeah, I think I would do it also. Um, all right, next one. Deal or no deal? Austin Reeves for Mikal Bridges.
Hmm. I think I would.
I think both players are kind of similar in a way. Like, I guess because like if you think about it, Mikal Bridges when he was on the Suns, he wasn't able to unleash because of all those other like star players on the team. But once he finally got his own team, he could put up like 30 point, 40 point performances. I feel like Austin, maybe if he wasn't behind AD and LeBron, he could possibly do the same. So I feel like this one is like similar players.
Uh,
But yeah, um, deal or no deal.
I feel like if Austin had his own team, I don't think he would do that on a consistent basis. I think he's good as like the third best player, third or fourth best player on a really good team. Uh, but yeah, with that said, I think I would make the deal. I think Mikal Bridges is pretty good defensively as well, and although Austin Reeves isn't like a cone out there, he I don't think he's as good as Mikal on that end of the floor. So I'll take Mikal Bridges.
For sure. All right. Next one. Uh, Trey Young for LaMelo Ball. Would you do
Trey
this
Young
trade?
for Lamelo Ball. You know what? This will be my first no deal. I know Lamelo has a lot of potential. He's younger, and they're definitely very similar, but he gets injured a lot. So, although Trey Young is a defensive liability, he has shown a lot of times that he is one of the best offensive players in the league. He could dish out assists like Lamelo. They play very similarly, so at least he stays on the court. So I'll take Trey.
All right, for sure. All right, halfway there. I asked you five. I got five more. Next one. Deal or no deal? Anthony Edwards for Paulo Banchero.
No deal. I'll take Anthony Edwards. I think he's a better scorer, shooter. Defensively, he's got that dog in him. He does try defensively. Uh, Bencaro, I feel like there's still a lot of stuff that he needs to work on. So no deal.
Yeah. Okay. I think that one was like your first like very easy answer. No
Yeah.
hesitancy at all. Like it, honestly. Okay. Next one. Deal or no deal? LeBron for Luca.
Oh God,
Yeah.
that's tough. That's tough because
I think that there's like so many factors you can weigh in, honestly.
yeah,
Like the experience, position of need, all that.
yeah, it all depends on like what team I have. Like
Yeah. Like for example, on the Lakers in the year 2024, like obviously we know LeBron is still really good and he can probably still play for like as long as he wants. But And again, like Luca is younger. He has such a bright future ahead of him. A lot of factors to weigh, I guess.
It might be a dumb decision, but I'm gonna say no deal. You can't just
No
trade
deal.
LeBron. You can't just trade one of the best players of all time. Uh, you gotta treasure him as long as you can. Treasure the moments, treasure the small things. So I guess I won't do the deal, even though Luca has potential to be one of the greatest players of all time as well.
All right. I respect that. Next one. Deal or no deal? Giannis for Jokic.
Ooh, that's another one where like it depends on the situation.
Yeah.
But I guess
Like,
I'll do it. I
for
think
example,
Jokic will make his teammates better around him. I don't think Giannis can do the same based off of his playing style. But obviously he's a better defender. But I think he's just Jokic is just easier to build around. So I'll take Jokic.
okay. All right. So down to the final two. This one I decided to do retired players.
Okay.
So first one, deal or no deal? Steve Nash for Jason Kidd.
They're so similar. They're so
They are
similar.
similar. They also
Oh,
played for a lot of the same teams too. Like both played for Suns, both played for the Mavericks.
they're on the same. Actually, no, never mind. Uh, give me Nash. I don't have a lot of strong feelings about this, so I guess no deal. But
Yeah.
I feel like he's just a bit more efficient. Um, yeah, I'll take Nash.
Yeah. Both players are very similar, but I do think Nash is a bit better, honestly. So in my situation, I would also say no deal. All right. Final one. And another one for retired players. This time for big men. Deal or no deal? Akeem Olajuwon for Tim Duncan.
Oh, they're both great. They're both
They are.
like debatably the best in their position. I think I'll say no deal. Like both of them are great offensively, defensively. The main difference is Hakeem is more fun to watch. I'm gonna take
Yeah.
Hakeem based off of that only.
I respect that. Yeah, because they always say like Tim Duncan, kind of like what you were saying about like Julius Randle earlier. A lot of them say like Tim Duncan is a very boring player to watch. I mean, they kind of said like the Spurs as a whole were really boring to watch with Popovich because like I guess they just do the fundamentals of basketball and nothing flashy. Um, that's a fair point, honestly.
The
Both of
Spurs
them are
ball
really
movement,
good.
like in their prime, is pretty fun to watch. I
Yeah.
think.
I honestly didn't really understand when people said that their game was boring. I guess I just didn't really think much about it, honestly.
I think because Tim
But I
Duncan's
feel
the leader, and he's kind of boring. That's why they would say that. But the Spurs in general
yeah,
weren't really boring. Like they got Ginobili, one of the
yeah,
flashiest, more entertaining
yeah,
players in the league.
yeah. Ginobili, Tony Parker, those are some fun players to watch, honestly.
Yeah,
But yeah, um,
I mean, going back
that
to the
pool,
topic, Tim Duncan did win a lot more, but he didn't have to face MJ all the time. Like he didn't have
that's
that
true.
curse.
Yeah, and and then of course there's also like the common argument like because when the Rockets won their back-to-back championship, it did happen to be during the 2-year hiatus when MJ retired.
Yeah,
So if Michael Jordan never retired, maybe the Rockets don't win a single championship, but hey, they won it. So not to take anything away from them, but there's a lot of what ifs that could go on like forever if they were to do that.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Honestly, not a
that
bad
being
choice
said,
either picking Hakeem or Tim Duncan. I just personally would pick Hakeem.
agreed for sure. So that'll do for my segment of deal or no deal trade packages.
All right, that was good. That was fun for sure.
Yeah.
Um, we'll play one more game. I'll be in charge, and I have several trivia games. Would you like the easy one, or would you like the hard one?
Um, let's see. You know what? I'll go for the hard one. Make it more entertaining.
All right. So, what year were you born?
Was born in 2000.
2000. So, what I have here, I have the NBA awards for every award in 2000, and you gotta name every player that won an award that year. So, that's MVP,
Ooh, okay. This uh,
Rookie of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Sixth Man of the Year, Most Improved Player, and we'll end it there. We don't have to do Coach of the Year or any of the all defensive, all NBA teams. But Let's start off easy. Who won MVP in the 1999-2000 season?
okay. Let me think. So obviously there were a lot of good players that were like pretty well known. But I'm gonna say Shaquille O'Neal.
That is correct. You should have definitely have gotten this one for sure. Prime
Yeah.
Shaq for the Lakers won the MVP in 2000. Uh, some of the
Nice.
honorable mentions that they have: Kevin Garnett was second, Alonzo Mourning was third, Karl Malone was fourth, and Tim Duncan was fifth in the race.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Hey, so Kobe was not even an honorable mention. Maybe so. A lot of people like to say like the whole entire like Shaq carrying him thing. Obviously not true, but like
Yeah, he
it's
was.
shocking that Kobe wasn't honorable mention.
Yeah, Kobe was 12th in the race.
Uh, wow. I guess there were just a lot of other good players then. Must have been.
Yeah. So next
Yeah.
one would be Rookie of the Year. This is actually a tie. So if you name one of the
I
players, yes, if you name one of the players, I'll take it as a win.
okay. So trying to think back who even was from the class of 2000 because I'll be honest, I am not very familiar with that draft class. Like the main ones I'm familiar with are 96, 2003, a little bit of 2002, and then I'm pretty familiar with like all the classes from '08 and after. Um, so I gotta think a little bit on this one. So it was a tie. I think I do remember a story about there one time being like the co rookie of the years thing. Um, but I'm trying to remember if this was the year that one of these players I was thinking of won it. Because I feel like maybe this guy was in the league beforehand. So I'm just trying to think who could have possibly have been. Uh wait, I'm trying to think which players. Co MVP or co rookie of the year maybe or tied for rookie of the year. Uh
I'll give you three guesses and also give you a small hint. Um, One of
okay.
them played for Chicago, the other one for Houston.
Okay. Let me think. So one played for the Bulls and one played for the Rockets. Uh, okay, so not gonna lie, I think my original guess was not correct because I don't think any of these guys play for these teams. So let me rethink this through real quick. Wow.
I told you this was gonna be the hard one.
Yeah, just a wild guess.
What was your guess? Did you guess?
Oh, my guess was my random wild guess was Tyson Chandler
Not Tyson
because
Chandler.
he was drafted by the Bulls. Oh, okay, not him. Okay,
I'll say one of them. I feel like known for his days with the Clippers.
oh, let me think. Oh, hold on. Let me think.
And then the one from Houston is known for his Houston days.
Oh, okay. Um, let me see. Elton Brand.
There we go. There we go. Elton Brand.
Because I do know that Elton Brand was originally drafted by the Bulls, and then he was traded to the Clippers for Tyson Chandler, actually, when Tyson Chandler was drafted by Chicago. And then eventually he went to Philly and then the Hawks and stuff. Elton Brand. Okay, so that's one of them.
Yeah, you just had to guess one
Okay.
for the win. So
Okay.
who won
Just
was
out of curiosity, yeah, go ahead.
Elton Brand and Steve Francis won Rookie of the Year together.
Ooh, Steve Francis. Yeah, I almost forgot. I know who he is, but almost
Yeah,
forgot about this
three-time All
guy.
Star, played for Houston. And
Yeah,
then Lamar Odom was actually third in the race, and Andre Miller fourth. Just a little fun
I,
fact.
I was almost gonna, I was almost gonna guess Lamar Odom, but at the same time, I thought that maybe he was drafted before 2000. He just seemed like a guy that would have been drafted in the 90s, but I guess he was just right on the border. Yeah. Okay, so the next one is Defensive Player of the Year.
Yes, who was Defensive Player of the Year in the 1999-2000 season?
Um, let's see. I'm gonna say Shaq again.
No, I'll give you two more guesses. It's a close. It
Okay.
was close though.
Okay, let me
Shaq
think.
was second.
Ooh, okay, yeah. I'm not shocked that he was up there. I'm gonna say Kevin Garnett.
No, Kevin Garnett was seventh.
Ooh, oh wow, seventh. That's kind
Yeah.
of shockingly low. Okay, last guess. Let me try to think a little deeper. Uh, okay. I'm. I feel like probably not because this guy was like older by then. But I'm just gonna say the Dikembe Mutombo.
No, I don't even think he's in the honorable mentions.
Okay.
It was a
Yeah,
good
he was
try though.
old.
Uh, who
Okay.
ended up winning Defensive Player of the Year was Alonzo Mourning.
Okay. Yeah, I forgot that he was like really good at defense, honestly. Like guys I was thinking about saying like maybe like Tim Duncan, stuff like that. So that wouldn't have been it either.
Yeah, Duncan's not even
Okay.
on the honorable mention. Oh, you know what? I was
What?
wrong. Dikembe is on the list. He is tied for third with Eddie Jones,
Oh, okay.
and then tied for fifth is Kobe and Gary Payton.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I had some good
Yeah,
guesses.
you
It
did.
just
You
didn't
did.
happen to be. Okay, for sure. So the last one, six man of the year.
Well, we have two more: Sixth Man of the Year and Most Improved Player. And I'll tell you right
Oh,
now, Sixth Man of the Year is gonna
hmm
be tough. It's gonna be really, really tough. So you have three guesses, but yeah, I don't think you'll be able to get it.
probably
It's
gonna be hard.
yeah.
Okay.
So he did play for Phoenix this season, if that helps.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's probably still gonna be hard, but I'm just gonna have to think of some wild guesses, I guess.
Seemed like he was a journeyman. I can't tell you which was his.
Journeyman.
Yeah, I can't tell you which teams he was
Okay,
known
that's
for the most
okay.
because I don't know.
Because then maybe it'll be obvious, or yeah, I guess you're
Yeah,
also not
I
familiar with the
don't know.
player.
I've To be honest with you, I've never heard of this player.
Oh, okay. Uh, Like I'll be honest, I don't know who was on the 2000 Suns. Like maybe Steve Nash was on that team, but then again, he could have been on. I think it might have been on the Mavericks still back then. So like, yeah, I don't know.
Should I just tell you? Like it's tough. It really is.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna guess this. So fire away, honestly.
Rodney Rogers. Do you know who that is?
No idea. Never heard of him.
He won Sixth Man of the Year that year. Um,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Rod. Okay, I just looked him up. Yeah, I don't know who this guy is.
I've never heard of him.
He played for seven teams, I see. Apparently, he was a lottery pick in 1993 by the Nuggets.
Yeah, some of the honorable mentions include I think his name is Catino Mobley, Cedric
Oh,
Ceballos,
I've heard of Katino Mobley.
Tracy
Played for
McGrady,
the Boston.
and then Jerome Williams.
Oh, T-Mac was a six man back then.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay, that one was fun for sure.
All right, we got one more. Most improved player. You definitely heard of this
Okay,
player before.
okay. Most improved.
Yup.
Let me think. I'm gonna say Ron Artest.
No. Ron Artest isn't even an honorable mention. I think they
Okay,
played together. If not, they both definitely played for the Pacers. That's a big hit, I think.
okay.
I don't know if they played together.
Let
I
me
don't
think.
remember, but they did for sure play for the Pacers at one point.
Okay, let me think this through then. Jermaine O'Neal.
That is a no. So that's two
Okay,
guesses. You got one more.
okay. Most improved in the year 2000. Uh, just gonna go ahead and say Steven Jackson.
No, it was actually Jalen Rose.
Jalen Rose. Oh, I'm not gonna lie, I almost forgot this guy played for the Pacers.
Yeah, I should have gave
I
you
do
another
remember,
hint. It was a little tricky.
yeah, it's okay. But I do remember, that was this season, 99 2000 was the year when the Lakers played the Pacers in the finals. And have you heard about the incident where Jalen Rose tripped Kobe in game four or whatever?
No,
And then I think
actually.
Kobe had to like miss a game. Yeah. And then he had to like miss a game or something. and the Lakers still won, I believe, because Shaq carried. But like, I'm pretty sure Jalen Rose did it intentionally. I think he may have even admitted it. Honestly, actually, maybe he didn't necessarily admit to the intentional like injury cause. I do remember in an interview, Jalen Rose said that he thought Kobe should have sat out the series, trying to say like because the guys on our team really deserve to win the championship. Like, yeah, okay, but yeah, I actually almost forgot about Jalen Rose because he was like already towards the tail end of his career by that time, right? Or maybe he was in the middle of his career.
I'm honestly not sure. Um,
Let's see.
but yeah,
Well, Jalen Rose was drafted in 1994, so that was the middle of his career. Honestly, I'm kind of shocked that he was most improved in like his sixth season.
yeah. So
But
Jalen Rose was most improved. Uh, Dirk Nowitzki was second. Jerry Stackhouse was third. Austin Crossier was fourth, and Tracy McGrady was fifth.
okay,
And
so a lot of well-known players.
and what I thought was interesting, the MVP of this season, Shaq, was in 10th place for most improved.
Ah, okay,
But yeah, not too bad,
that
honestly.
is definitely a little bit shocking.
Yeah, you didn't do too bad. You got
Yeah,
one, two,
two, three of them.
two out of I'll say four. I feel like the sixth man of the year was way too hard. So 2 out of 4, not too
Yeah,
bad.
okay, I'll take it honestly.
And yeah,
That was pretty
that's it. That was fun. I liked it. I I had fun.
definitely. I did too. Coming up with creative games and concepts, always fun to do.
Yeah, for sure. And also this podcast in general, I feel like I had a lot of fun talking about our all star predictions for the starters and reserves. And I hope you all enjoyed as well. If you did, please subscribe. Um, Give us a good rating on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. That would be greatly appreciated. And we have socials that you can all check out. Everything is linked in the description, so go check it out. But yeah, I feel like we're done here. Is there anything you want to say before we end it?
Um, just wanted to say thanks to everyone for watching the video, and for all of your support. We really appreciate it. It's always, as Memo said, always really fun making these videos because basketball is one of our passions. And then especially for like videos like this, coming up with our predictions for the All-Star lineups as well as the TikTok games, it's really fun because it allows us to think outside of the box in challenging situations. Um, but definitely stay tuned to see our upcoming content. Very soon we'll go back to our regular routine. But the coming weeks we're pretty much just trying to complete the process of uploading some of our content that we recently recorded, and I guess we'll leave it as a slight surprise for now, but stay tuned, it should be fun.
It should be. Subscribe. Check out our stuff on our other social medias. But yeah, I think we're done here. So thank you all for watching. Later. Bye bye.